and go with it. And when you have a big family and you have all this individual talent, which, believe me, they are all radically different from each other. You would think that 12 kids raised in the same house together would be little clones of each other. No, 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 not even close. They're all so different from each other. But when you put that together, it's really cool because there's all these aspects. I mean, some of my kids are really into tech, and some of them are really into writing songs, and some of them are really into dancing, and some of them are really into the instruments. And so you put it all together, and it makes this really neat, complete picture. We can accomplish a lot of awesome things together.
And you think about this, Brenda, you think about specifically how each individual is different. I think in a bigger family, you're able to understand that more because they're such different individuals.
Definitely.
Yeah. I tell my wife that all the time.
There's enough of them that you start to see the differences.
Yeah, you do. When you have one or two, you're like, or two or three, you're like, oh, But when it comes to five or your family 9, am I correct? You have that it's just it's that type of a situation. So
actually, we have 12 kids altogether.
12? Oh my gosh. Okay, I was counting out the wrong. So even more busy.
Yeah, we have 12.
12. Wow.
So there's 14 people, 14 of us with all different personalities and all different talents. It's a really interesting mix, but yet it really comes together as a whole, And as the little ones are coming up, it's interesting to see how their personalities are developing to fit into this whole big picture.
Well, think about this. I love that you homeschool, and here's the reason why. Because I am an educational advocate, a former teacher, own a tutoring consulting company, Brenda, and the reason I love working one-on-one with kids is because you can really individualize instruction. It's missing in the school system, and so many kids have gifts and talents that you just aren't able to understand in a group teaching setting. But working one-on-one with them, explain to that such the way you're able to identify each child's strengths in school so that they can be successful, so you don't have to, pigeonhole them into a one-size-fits-all education.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? I was an education major myself, and I graduated with a degree in secondary education, specialty fields in science and in Spanish. And I always tell people the one thing that I learned through my college years was that I didn't want to send my kids to school because as a student growing up, I was a good student.
Right.
I got all A's. I was a valedictorian in high school.
Okay.
And I just assumed everybody could handle that and could be that. But there's a lot of kids that actually can't because the system doesn't go the right pace or it isn't designed for them or doesn't cater to their strengths or weaknesses. And so I found out through that 4 years of my education degree that the system doesn't allow each child to reach his or her potential. And so I started realizing, man, I want my kids to have the best education they can have, and maybe one or two of them will.
Yes.
They'll be right at the same pace as the system, but many of them may not be. And I would even go a step further.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of just saying that you can give individualized education to part of their education, so they're good at math and good at reading and good at things like that and researching. They have the tools available to them. But once they get to that point, we really, really treat it more like a business. They get assignments, they work on them all week, they make reports. The next week they come back, they do their reports, and it's a really, really neat way to educate kids.
It's definitely a neat way to educate kids, and that's so true, Brenda, in so many ways, and I love it. Now, tell us how this whole reality thing happened. I know, again, you were a competitive family that's been on different reality shows before that, but tell us the story how you got hooked up with your story being on reality television.
It's really a funny story that goes back to my husband being a wrestler, and I know that doesn't make a whole lot of sense right now, but he wrestled in elementary school and high school. He won the Illinois State Championship, and he got a full-ride scholarship to Northwestern. He had a bunch of brothers. They all wrestled. And we figured we'd have a bunch of boys, and, we would have a wrestling family. We would do music for the fun of it, at church and whatever, and that's that. And then we had 8 girls. And he's like, we're not going to have a wrestling family. It just doesn't quite fit with what I thought,
Right.
And then we saw Riverdance. And we saw Riverdance, and it kind of rocked our world because it was beautiful, and the dancing was very athletic, and it was culture, and it was music, it was all this wrapped together. So we actually got our kids involved in Irish dancing. And they got really good at it pretty quickly and started winning and, competing and winning. And then we went to our first festival and we got instruments and fell in love with the music and the culture. And then we moved to Nashville, and there was an Irish pub opening up on Music Row. And somebody saw us dancing. The owner saw us dancing, and he goes, "Hey, would you guys do something on St. Patrick's Day? I'll give you 45 minutes to do whatever you want." And that was our first gig. That was about, 10, 12 years ago. And we did that gig for 8 years in a row on Music Row, and we got, quote unquote, discovered, by the music industry while playing on St. Patrick's Day at this little Irish pub on Music Row. And that started the ball rolling. They started introducing us to, he was a record label.
Okay.
He pitched us to his record label owner. He passed on us because he was afraid of a big family with 10 kids and signing a bunch of minors. And so, we continued to be pitched around Nashville. And then that eventually led to a show on GAC, which is Great American Country, pretty much based here in Nashville. It wasn't a big time thing,
Okay.
like if you get your basic cable package, GAC is not in your basic cable package. So it was further than that. But then when GAC kind of was over, we decided to try for America's Got Talent. Well, then we also tried for the Today Show.
Okay.
When Carrie Underwood was doing The Sound of Music. We did a little video off the Today Show, and we won that. We won America's most, musical family or whatever they called it, the modern Von Trapp family or something. And then that's when we did that, and then we did America's Got Talent, and TLC saw us on America's Got Talent and reached out to us. It's kind of a long story, but really started with my husband in wrestling.
See, that's interesting. So again, it's a situation where you had that competitive urge, or you had that thought process with a big family. What can we do to compete and do things that we enjoy and love together? And from the big family came music and came the opportunities and the success. But I think that, Brenda, we could tell you must be always on the horn before you became big time, like now with your show. But before then, just pitching and calling and emailing to get these opportunities, right?
You know what? No. Honestly,
Really?
no, I wasn't. It was walking through doors of opportunity is what it was. And we didn't have this planned. We weren't trying to make this happen.
Okay.
It was, my kids loved music. They loved meeting other kids that loved music.
Okay.
So that's why we got into the competitions, the Irish music and the Irish dancing. It was just a quality of life thing. I tell people all the time, we would be doing this whether we were making money or not. We would be doing this whether there were cameras or not. Just because it's fun, it's beautiful. They get to travel the world. They get to meet other people who enjoy music and who enjoy performing. We get to do amazing things. We just went dog sledding. We went surfing. We traveled to Ireland. We do gigs in really cool places. We get to do all kinds of neat things. So, no, it wasn't that we were pushing and trying to force this to happen. We were just walking through doors of opportunity, enjoying a great quality of life. This was not the goal, to become a TV reality family that performs.
Okay.
That was not the goal. It was a quality of life thing.
Quality of life, sharing your music, and then there it happens. So then you get pitched by TLC. TLC comes to you, or you come to TLC, whatever, and then the opportunity comes. And how does your life change after the season, especially with the ratings and how you've been doing well and stuff like that? Is it recognized everywhere? Yeah. It's kind of crazy, isn't it?
Honestly, you know what? It hasn't changed our life that much. I mean, yeah, people will stop and ask for a picture in Walmart occasionally, but that's not really that big of a deal. It hasn't changed. And that's one of the things I think that's really important is for our family to understand, and we tell them all the time, we don't want it to change our life this time. We want to continue being a family that loves each other, that takes opportunities, that does great things together, that, tries to reach our potential, and just share that with the world, I mean, yeah, more people are getting to know us, and we do get stopped in Walmart or the airport or whatever, but I still want to be that same person. I tell you, it was very interesting. We played on the Grand Ole Opry quite a bit, and we met Keith Urban. He came backstage, and he was going to be performing that night, and he was the most kind, genuine person we've ever met, and we met a lot of wonderful people. But he got down on his knees, and he shook hands with all my little tiny ones, my 5-year-old, my 6-year-old, my 8-year-old, asked their name, and was genuinely interested. And my kids walked away from that going, oh, my gosh, I don't know how big we're going to get, but no matter how big we get, we want to be like that.
That's great.
We want to be just as genuine and kind and giving people our attention as much as we possibly can. And it was just a really good it was a good illustration for them to see someone who was a really big deal,
right,
and yet be unchanged as far as his personality and his kindness towards people. So that's definitely the goal. I don't want the life to change so much that it ruins who we are and what we want to be.
So you're not going to let TV and entertainment business do that to you, especially either music or television, and that's great. And I think that keeping them grounded, understanding that, and I've noticed a lot of reality stars have done that. Brenda, they just basically know, that fans created them. They're created by the people watching every week. It's not a situation where, you're telling your story. And if you didn't have fans, you wouldn't have a show. Right, Brenda? So that's the thing that you guys are seeing in this process. If no one watched, you wouldn't have fans, you wouldn't have a show. Am I correct on that? That's the kind of thought process you got that lots of reality stars are able to do. Yeah.
That's definitely true. But we really enjoy what we're doing so much that even if we didn't have fans and no one wanted to watch it, we'd still be doing the same thing.
Oh, that's great.
So, so in one sense, what thrills us probably more than anything that there is a show is when people come up and say, that inspired me so much, or I was going through a hard time and that really helped me, or, I love seeing your family do this, or your song, I've listened to it over and over because I just had surgery, or I lost my mom and your mama's song really blessed me, or that's what really thrills us, that there's fans involved in our life, is that we can inspire people. A lot of times, poor Whitney, if she's listening to this, my publicist from TLC, she's going to die when I say this, but people a lot of times will say, what do you want people to take away from your show? I said, really? I want them to get off their couch, turn off their TV, and go live their own life. I don't want people sitting there watching TV, watching me live mine. I want people to be inspired by what happens in my life to say, hey, I want to go out and do things with my kids. I want to go, do this or that, and I want to get involved in my kids' sports life, or their education, or let's take a family vacation together, or let's just go out and exercise together, whatever it is. I really want people to get up, instead of just sitting there watching me, I want them to be inspired to get up and go live their own life with their own family. So that's why the fans are important to us, just so that maybe we can, in some way, inspire them to do whatever it is that they want to do.
That's tremendous. Again, March 15th, 10 p.m. Eastern, this new season begins. What surprises do you have in store? Give us a couple hints of what to expect for the show on Tuesday night.
Yeah, you know what? They really wanted to get to know us. I know there was a bit of traveling around and on the road and, a bit of the hype and the chaos last season, but they really wanted to trying to get to know everybody this season. So there's a bit more of at home and what's happening in our lives and like the individual personalities of each person, and then crazy little things that happen in every home and how they react. Like, we went away and we came back and our dog had 9 puppies. And so, what my little kids with the new puppies and creating the next album, what's that going to be like? Are we going to go with this genre? Or are we going to go with that genre? And changes that happen and things like that. And just kind of as a family, how we work through issues and kind of displaying each person's personality. So we're actually really excited for this season and kind of getting to know everybody and what they're going through.
So how do you guys work as a team? Especially, I need tips. Especially my wife and I, with 5 kids, we go through this. Our oldest is 10, and our youngest is 2. So we're in that, boat of craziness every day. How do you guys work as a team so that you can, when there's fights or struggles or anything, how do you guys handle it? Is there leadership not just from your husband, but also you and other children, the oldest? How does that work so that you guys don't keep it's organized chaos, but not bad chaos? Tell us. Yeah.
It's really important to have strong leadership, and so it's pretty much across the board in our family that Toby's the leader, but he's also a very gracious leader, and he takes other people's opinions into account and all this and that. And as the other kids are getting older, I mean, Jess is 23, Jared's 22, Jenny's 21, Jeanette's 19. He includes them in the decision-making process. I'm very supportive of him in whatever he decides, but then he'll ask my opinion on a lot of things. So I think being on the same page as far as leadership is really important. There's a lot of delegation that happens. Obviously, he doesn't handle everything, but supporting that, the main leader, and then everybody being on the same page as far as the younger ones are concerned. Yeah, that's really, really, really important. And then there's also teaching of responsibility, which
Yes.
tends to lessen the amount of issues. When the younger ones are taught responsibility, make your bed, clean your room,
Yes.
take care of your laundry, help with the meals, things like that. There's less chaos, and so therefore there's less problem. And so that's a big deal. A lot of people are like, man, I don't think kids, have to do chores or they're too busy with school and mom's going to do it all. Well, that creates a lot of stress in the family. When there's multiple people and making messes, there has to be multiple people cleaning up messes and, keeping things under control. And when the environment is clean and neat and a well-oiled machine, and I don't think that my house is always clean and that I always have a well-oiled machine that works perfectly, but that is the goal. And when you fight for that, it definitely helps.
Now, when you talk about clean, how do you keep your house clean with this many kids? I mean, I'm always challenged. My wife and I constantly are going. How do we keep things in order? It's got to take a team, doesn't it?
Yeah, it takes a plan, and we have a schedule for school, and we change that up. It gets boring if you do the same thing all the time, so you change that up. Sometimes we do all of our athletic things in the morning, like workouts and dance practice and things like that. We have lunch and then academics are afterwards, or sometimes we flip it. Sometimes the academics are right after breakfast, and we do all that, and then we have athletics in the afternoon, and then we have music and art and stuff in the evenings. Our school day is in 3 sections, from breakfast to lunch, from lunch to dinner, and from dinner to bed. And we kind of, athletics are grouped in one, and then academics, and then art and music. So we kind of go all day. Our day is quite a bit longer than a regular school kid. Of course, they come home and do homework anyway, so I guess their day is just as long. But, but we consider that all part of the day. And yet, sometimes, all those things will be so much fun. Somebody will say, what did you do for school today? They're like, oh, we didn't do school today. And yet they, did some fun things with, the maps on the wall, talking about where we're going in Ireland and what we're going to do. Well, that was geography, but we just make it really fun and very life-driven, So anyway, I think having a plan is number one, and then implementing and teaching them how to use the plan is the second thing. And my husband's mom, my mother-in-law, was a Montessori school teacher. And I wasn't raised that way. I didn't know anything about Montessori school, but that's a big key, is not only making the plan and having a way to do everything, but in addition, teaching them how to do that plan and teaching them, how to make your bed, how to take care of the laundry. And this is the plan. You got to run them through it, and then they get lazy, and you have to kind of redo the educational process again on how to do it. And you know what? I don't ever want anybody to think that I'm perfect at it, because I'm not. I've been learning as I go, because I wasn't raised that way. And so, there's been a big learning curve. And then you always have, at least in our family up to now, you've always got little ones that are coming up and more people to teach. So, but I think that's what makes the chaos manageable. It's having a plan and then teaching everybody how to implement that plan.
That's fantastic. I know that a couple of the kids want to come on the line to say hi. If possible, we can, and I can ask a few questions if you want to put them on the line for a second before we finish the interview.
Yeah. Hang on 1 second. I'll want to grab some of them. But so, what's your listening audience like? Who's listening to us today?
Oh, we got all over the world. We're going to go pull it out on syndication tomorrow on all over the world. So it's kind of like we're recording now and going live, and then tomorrow getting it out all over the world to different areas. London, Canada, we're looking at most of the U.S., so just say hi and specific things, and I'll ask a few questions for the kids. You can introduce them to me, and I'll ask one question or two.
Yeah, you know what? We've got Jenny and Jeanette here that can say hello. One of the things that's really cool for us is our TV show is kind of going out worldwide, and it's being aired in I think it's 150 something countries.
Wow, okay.
And so it's really kind of cool for us. Yeah, it's really kind of cool for us to be able to have that wide of a reach. When we do fan tours to Ireland,
that's great.
Had people, we did our fan tour last year. We had people from 6 different countries that went to and toured Ireland with us. So it's kind of cool that this is going out all over the place. I have Jenny here on the line right now.
Hey,
and,
Jenny.
You can say hi to Jenny and talk to her for a bit.
Hi, Jenny. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Fantastic. Just two major questions. One about homeschooling. How old are you, Jenny? And tell me specifically how much you've enjoyed being homeschooled.
Well, I'm 21, and I was homeschooled all the way through, and I enjoyed it so much. My mom was an education major in college, so she absolutely knew what she was doing and was extremely creative when it came to picking curriculums and stuff for us as we were homeschooling. And she really did an amazing job of tailoring the curriculum to each one of us kids. And she didn't just stick to one curriculum across the board because different kids had different strengths and different weaknesses. So if, one kid was excelling in, reading but falling behind in math, she would absolutely tailor the curriculum to help, that kid really catch up on their math and stuff. And it was just, I don't know. I mean, I think each of us kids have really received the best education we possibly.
Brenda, we're on in Montreal. We're on in London, England, and I'll be promoting you big time. And we have all these different platforms all over the world to listen to the show and stuff. So I'm glad to have you.
Jackson is here, and Jackson's going to jump on the line real quick and talk to you.
Okay, really quickly, then we'll go and. Hey, Jackson, how are you?
I'm well.
Fantastic, Jackson. How old are you, by the way?
I am 17.
17. What did you think of your homeschooling experience and stuff? Have you enjoyed that? That's one of the questions I asked Jenny.
Yes, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I still got 1 year left, and it was great because I got to learn at my own pace. And if I needed to move to another subject, my parents were fine with that. And if I was having a bad day on one subject, I could just go on to another one. And it was great to go at my own speed. And if I was excelling at something, nothing was holding me back.
I love that answer. How's your life changed since the television show, meaning the TV show now where you go and your friends are talking to you when you're in the community and traveling and things like that? And how have you handled that so far since the TV show?
Well, the biggest change, I would say, is that people now recognize me.
Yeah.
In the grocery store or something, and people want to come up and get a picture. And it's been great. It was a little weird and awkward to get used to at first, but now it's been so much fun to be able to interact with people who are fans of the family, and it's been amazing.
Well, that's fantastic, Jackson, and best of luck on the show and your performing and stuff like that. And let's hope you continue to have success in school and also performing. So I'll go ahead and grab Brenda before we finish up the show, okay?
All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Good talking to you.
Hey, this is Brenda.
All right, Brenda, the craziness of today, we made it through, and now I'm going to be doing some editing and then get it out through syndication and everywhere. Best place we can find information on you, Brenda, and learn more about you, where can we go?
TheWillisClan.com is the best place to find our live touring schedule and bios on everybody and information about what's happening and what's happened in the past. Try to keep that up on our blog, too. So, yeah, TheWillisClan.com is the best place to find information about us.
And all your different social media stuff and all that stuff. And remember to tune in again March 15th, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central to the Willis family on TLC. So thanks for calling, guys, and take care.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. You're listening to Total Celebrity Show, and we'll be back in just a moment.